Hi, I'm Sam Gyllenhaal of Sam Gyllenhaal Band. I'm a singer-songwriter here in Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome to the Creative Push.
Let's talk about your childhood. Were you into music at a really young age?
I was. I come from a musical family. My dad plays the banjo and guitar and sings, and he taught my sister and I to sing harmony on the way to school, driving us to elementary school every day. Music has been a part of my life since the beginning. I learned to play guitar at 4 years old.
Do you study music beyond school?
I didn't really think that music was going to be something I pursued professionally. And so I majored in film in college and did some like sports broadcasting and stuff. And it wasn't till my second year of college that I started writing songs. And from that first song on, I was like, okay, I'm all in. A lot of people can sing, but not everybody can write songs. And so it was something that, came naturally to me and sort of sparked, something in me. And ever since, it's just had a one-track mind to write songs. I grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina. My dad was in the newspaper industry, and he got a job offer to work at a paper in Minneapolis. And so when I was 13, we moved to Minnesota. And North Carolina and Minnesota are two very different places. So I'm kind of a child of America, I like to say. I spent the most time in North Carolina, so that's what I claim.
What brought you to Nashville?
I knew that I wanted to do music professionally, and I spent a summer in LA during college, and that wasn't really for me. And New York was just a little too big, and so Nashville seemed like the right choice. And so I spent the summer before my senior year of college in Nashville and was immediately in love with it. And so right after college, I moved straight to Nashville and went for it.
And how many years ago was that?
10 years ago.
Have you pursued any publishing deals or do you do your own thing here?
A kind of both. A publishing deal doesn't necessarily seem like it's the perfect thing for me because I just love to be on stage. I would definitely pursue that if it was the right opportunity, but I find that like if I write more than 3 or 4 times a week, then it's not as fun anymore. I like to be able to just do a bunch of different stuff, performing, writing, recording. I like to have my hands in all kinds of different things.
Is there anything that you wish you'd known when you first got started that would have helped you kind of get to where you're at now quicker?
If I was to do it all over again, I would have toured more in the beginning. Touring is something that I started doing maybe 3 or 4 years ago, right after COVID. I was playing a good amount around town, but when I started getting outside of Nashville and playing to those crowds, that's when you get a real response. I like to say that playing live music in Nashville is like training with weights. You're surrounded by so many talented people, and when you hit the road, you're kind of unleashed, and that's when you remember why you love playing live so much, is because you get so much more response from the crowd. So if I was to go back and do it again, I would have started hitting the road earlier.
What's the biggest failure you've had so far in your career?
I've never had like a big failure. I'd say that I didn't always do a good job of networking with the industry. I kind of stuck to artists, and developing those relationships. So I think, that is certainly one of my weaknesses. Those relationships have come over time. As the music has gotten better, there's been more industry attention. So I don't know that that's necessarily a failure, but I would say that that's, one of the areas that I've had to improve upon is relating to industry types.
As an artist, though, do you really need industry? I mean, in today's day and age, when you can create your own music and travel and book your own shows, do you really need that industry?
Everybody has their own path to finding their place in the music industry. There's no one way. People in the industry can, you know, really multiply your efforts. I've been working with a manager for about a year, and there's just so many things that I didn't know. And, you know, on the publishing side, on all the different income streams that you can make happen, contracts, licensing. Eventually, if you're going to try to make a career out of music, you're going to have industry involved on some level. It's just too much. You know, there's just too much to do. One person, one band can't cover everything. So, and just from an administrative standpoint, you know, if you do all the things that it takes to make this a successful career, you're going to have some help. If you did it all yourself, there would be no time left to make music. You don't need industry up to a point. And if you have people that you can trust in the industry to help you, then that'll go a long way in terms of getting bigger and better shows, better opportunities. So it's both, I guess.
Who were your influences?
I grew up on classic rock. I listened to the Beatles from the very beginning. My first album was Sgt. Pepper's. My dad was a huge bluegrass fan, so I heard a lot of bluegrass growing up, and we went to lots of bluegrass festivals. But when I was in high school, that's when I really started to listen to classic rock radio. Tom Petty, Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, Bob Dylan. All those influences really inform what I do today, even though, you know, there's a lot more modern elements in what I do. But I would say that the Eagles are my number one biggest influence with that kind of harmony-driven music.
Do you feel like you have a technique of your own or a style?
I think in writing the music, I just keep working on something until it feels good and trust my gut and know that if I like it, somebody else is going to like it too. And I've definitely developed my own idiosyncrasies and ways that I approach writing and recording a song. But I'm also co-writing pretty much all my songs at this point. And so there's usually 3 of us in the room recording. So everybody else's techniques, you know, come into play too. And that goes a long way to just have more creative minds in the room and throwing out ideas. And that helps make every song a little different.
What does creativity mean to you?
I think creativity to me means just keeping your ears open, kind of keeping your antenna open for all the ideas that are out there. You know, art doesn't just come from nothing. It is a collection of things that have inspired you. I heard Pharrell say once that you've got chocolate and peanut butter, 2 great elements, and then you've got Reese's Cups, which are just the perfect blend of chocolate and peanut butter. The people that made Reese's Cups, they didn't invent chocolate, they didn't invent peanut butter, but they brought them together. And so all the music is out there, and you're just collecting stuff. That kind of mindset takes the ego out of it a little bit. I'm not some great creator of music. I'm just collecting, you know?
What inspires you or motivates you to create? Are there any elements in your life that kind of boost that creative element for you?
It all kind of comes back to performance and trying to entertain people. So when I'm writing, I'm thinking about, is this going to be fun to perform live and add harmonies to and bring other people in? It all boils down to what's going to entertain people, what's going to move them, trusting my gut and knowing that if I like something a lot, then hopefully other people will like it too.
What do you do when you get stuck?
Well, that's one of the great things about co-writing is if you're stuck, you rely on your co-writers to kind of feed you ideas until you're unstuck. If I'm writing by myself and I'm stuck, then I'll just leave it and walk away. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But when you're in a co-write, you don't have that option. And there's a lot of silence in a writing room for a while everybody's just thinking. And, you don't force it, you know, you don't just grind your teeth and just will an idea, you know, you just kind of hang out until something comes up.
What do you see in your future?
I want to keep playing bigger and better shows. I want to grow my audience, both in terms of performance and listeners. As long as I'm just moving in an upward trajectory, that's all I can control. You know, the rest is a little bit out of my hands. But if I just keep on making music and being consistent and putting stuff out there, then I'll have done my job, and the rest isn't really up to me.
How do you market your work now? How do people find out about your music?
Social media is the biggest thing. Right now, I try to post on the social media platforms 5 times a week. And I'm not actually the biggest fan of social media, at least as a user. It's just part of the gig. I try to make it fun for myself and for my social media followers. Some days I just talk to my camera and just post it. Some days I'm doing, you know, cover videos. I do this thing called Work Tape Wednesdays, where every Wednesday I record myself singing some original song that I wrote. It's a pretty cool flex to be able to post a new original song every week. And luckily, I have just a gigantic back catalog of songs.
What advice would you give to anyone starting their career as a musician or songwriter?
In terms of musicians who are looking to be songwriters, I think my biggest piece of advice would be to co-write and find other people to write with at writers' rounds or at parties. Write with everybody, and they're not all going to be great matchups, but when you're writing a song with everybody, with anyone, you're going to become fast friends, because you have to open yourself up to other people pretty quickly. And every great opportunity that I've had in Nashville has come from writing with other people. So early on in your career, you have to write all the time with anybody, and slowly but surely you won't have as much free time, and so you'll have to be a little more concentrated in your efforts to write. But Nashville will do that for you. You know, Nashville will start to, you know, dictate your schedule a little bit more, but in the beginning, just writing a lot.
Well, thank you so much for being on the Creative Push. I really appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to hearing you play here in a little while.
Thank you for having me.